All right, Joanne. Whenever you're ready to turn over the Oh, and it sounds like now I have an echo. Was fine earlier.
Yep, you're getting better now.
Okay, I'm adjusting the microphone. Is it better? Testing, testing. One, two, three.
Yes, much better now.
Okay, we will leave it just like this. Hope for
Okay.
the best.
And here you go.
Excellent. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's call with LNI Secretary Jerry Oleksiak and UC Benefits Policy Director Susan Dickinson. I'm Teresa Elliott, Deputy Communications Director for LNI. Please submit your questions by clicking the chat icon, which is the blue thought bubble at the bottom of your screen. Please include your name and media outlet, followed by your question. In the interest of time, you'll be limited to just one question, but time permitting, we'll open up the call for a second round. You may submit any follow-up questions to us at dlipress@pa.gov, and we'll address them after the call. For your awareness, this call is being recorded. If you do not consent to being recorded, please hang up now. Following the call, a link to the recording will be provided to the media outlets that participated. We'll get started with comments from Secretary Jerry Oleksiak. Secretary?
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you to those of you who have joined us. We appreciate your flexibility with this change in schedule. Let me start as I have with some updates on our numbers. Since March 15th, we've paid about $23.7 billion with a B in unemployment benefits. That's $10.2 billion in our traditional unemployment compensation system, $10.6 billion in the federal pandemic unemployment compensation, which is the extra $600, and $2.7 billion in the pandemic unemployment assistance program, which is for those not traditionally eligible for UC. We've also paid $143 million through the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program, which is the extended benefits part of the CARES Act and Pennsylvania law. 90% of eligible claimants who filed for benefits between March 15th and June 6th, who filed for continued claims, received payment as of today, July 6th. The remaining 10% represent a combination of unresolved claims. Those are claims that may have some issues that we are looking at, determining if they are indeed eligible and what questions there may be that we can help claimants with, or some of those claims have already been denied. So we continue to make excellent progress on that backlog, and as we say every week, that only makes a difference if you're on the right side of those statistics, and that's why we continue doing what we're doing, including we are now up to over 182,000 hours of overtime in our UC system. Our number of employees has grown from 775 at the time of the mitigation efforts, the start of those efforts, to about 1,600 today. And I know we are adding, as we speak, we have training going on for the outside vendors that we got the exemption for under federal regulations, and we're working with our collectively bargained units as well to bring those people in. So we will be continuing to grow our staff. We've responded to over 510,000 emails, to 223,000 phone calls, 104,000 chats since March 15th, and nearly 250,000 Pennsylvanians have also been helped by our virtual assistant. And speaking of our virtual assistant, we are switching vendors, and that the virtual assistant will be shut down as of later today and will not be available until sometime tomorrow. So it's just going to be that one shutdown period as we make the transition from one vendor to another. Another piece of information as far as how we are reporting UC claims and the change that there will be in that number based on the process that we'll be using. So beginning this Thursday, the Department of Labor and Industry will be updating the process on how we report those claims. We've been updating our website daily with the running total of UC applications received since the mitigation efforts began in Pennsylvania in mid-March. As it's important to remember, as we have stated before, that these statistics reflected and do reflect still real-time number of applications, the applications we have as of that day. It's not the official number of claims that is released by the U.S. Department of Labor every Thursday at 8:30. Now, the difference between applications and claims is that individuals sometimes submit multiple applications, but of course they ultimately can have only one application for benefits. This has been an evolving process. We've been working with these numbers, trying to get them as accurate as possible, getting them as accurate as possible since the start of this. So the numbers we've reflected, or that we've reported, are accurate and have reflected the number of actual applications our staff has received and needed to process, and reflected the actual work that our agency had to put into that. So although the federal government only tracks claim numbers, L&I followed the lead of many other states in providing that real-time data to be as transparent as possible, as quickly as possible during our mitigation efforts. We're changing how we're doing that now, so the numbers will reflect that change. There has been a dramatic decrease in COVID-19 related benefit applications. Initially, we were at over 300,000 a week. We're down in 40 and 50,000 recently. And we want to match up our numbers with the official embargoed data that's released by the U.S. Department of Labor weekly. So there won't be any consistencies moving forward as of this Thursday, July 9th. So we won't be providing daily updates to that number, but we will be sharing the official weekly numbers as they are released by the Department of Labor. And they will be found on our website page, updated every Thursday by noon. So there will be a noticeable difference in the number of application totals that we have been sharing. Our current stats indicate more than 2.2 million regular UC claims have been received. We expect that number to decrease by about 325,000 due to the deletion of duplicate or invalid applications. So it'll still be very close to 2 million claims, but not as high as we have been reporting. So the UC activity statistics, which is the breakdown of UC claims that we provide by county and by industry, will not be impacted by this change, and that change will be effective as of Thursday. One last piece of information, and then we'll turn it over to Susan. We will continue to hold our virtual town halls. We had our 6th town hall last Thursday. We will have our 7th this Thursday at 1 o'clock, and these are town halls that are open to the public and people who have questions about unemployment. It can be live streamed at access.live/PA-labor or a listen-only number, 833-380-0719. That's access.live/PA-labor or 833-380-0719. And there are a limited number of audio lines available, so if you can access it through the internet, we encourage you to do that. And again, because of the nature of the system, we won't be able to answer specific questions related to specific individual claims, but we can provide general information moving forward. So thank you for your attention, and I will be turning it over to Susan. Susan?
There we go. Thank you. First, I'll talk a little bit about the Pennsylvania's Extended Benefit Program, which just began. We had several individuals filing for their first continuing claim on extended benefits yesterday. So the program is up and running, and a lot of individuals probably are going to be filing biweekly, so they haven't filed this Sunday, they'll file next Sunday. And so that's the additional 9 to 13 weeks of benefits that comes after the PEUC extension has run out for someone. So we automatically set up those claims, and the person just has to go in and start filing continuing claims, which they can do week to week if they prefer, or they can do every other week as they have been on regular UC and PEUC. It's entirely up to them. Their method of payment will be whatever it was on PEUC, so that was up to the claimant's discretion as well. We do have FPUC, that's the additional $600 payments. FPUC will also be made on top of the regular EB claims that are starting this week. because FPUC applies to all of our unemployment programs through the week ending July 25th. So individuals who start filing EB this early will, receive the additional $600 each week. Theoretically, this Thursday would be the first time we pay the FPUC payments to the EB individuals. However, our systems are marrying up. We have to marry up the EB with the FPUC, and that's not ready yet. So it should be ready by next week. I believe it's the 16th is Thursday of next week. So that's when the FPUC payments for EB should be issued for the first time, meaning that the individuals will see the payments the following week. Moving on to PUA, we are still, Treasury has been issuing debit cards to everyone through U.S. Bank, and individuals, most of them should have received their debit card by now. If not by now, their target date was July 7th, which is tomorrow. So sometime this week, early this week, individuals should be receiving their debit cards. And again, this is how we're going to make payments to all of our PUA applicants for the time being as we combat fraudulent activity in that program. So we had moved away from issuing paper checks to everybody and are now issuing debit cards to everybody, since it is a physical thing that they have to receive in the mail in order to, receive their benefits every week, actually. So the PUA fraud does continue, and I just want to remind everyone that there is contact information on our website, www.uc.pa.gov. If anyone receives PUA payments and they've never filed for unemployment and they did not file for those PUA benefits, there is an address on our website where they can return any checks or return debit cards and let us know that this fraud is happening so we can stop the claim that's in their name, and we can, make sure the fraudsters don't receive any payments from there. Fortunately, we have had, a lot of debit cards and checks returned to us, so it is working well to mail things as opposed to using electronic transfers of money. So we keep moving forward with that and cooperating with law enforcement to try to help them track these down. Also, I had already mentioned FPUC is ending July 25th. So that's the additional $600. And after it does end July 25th, that's a payment that's tied to weeks of unemployment. So even if we make a payment in August or September for weeks back in July, the $600 payment will still be issued with that week. It is tied to the week of unemployment and not to when we release the payment. A few other things about regular unemployment and actually all the programs. This week, does reflect a quarter change. In the world of unemployment, quarters are important, whether it's, one of the 4 calendar quarters of the year. That's when we base our monetary eligibility. So when someone files a claim, the first thing we look at is, are they eligible? Do they have enough of a work history to qualify for a claim? What this means is that every quarter, so every 3 months, the time frame that we look at someone's eligibility, which is called their base year, it shifts. So it captures another quarter of their work history to see, how much money they could make on unemployment, see if they are eligible for unemployment. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because now that we're in a new quarter, which started yesterday, the first Sunday of July, that means that individuals who previously may not have qualified for unemployment compensation because they didn't have enough wages, if they had some later wages in their work history, they may qualify now. And what this means for the department is that anyone who's on a type of claim that is not regular unemployment, so we're talking individuals who are on the PUA program, individuals who are on a PEUC claim, and now we have individuals on an EB claim, they may qualify for regular unemployment, and what we have to do is we have to test all of them to see if they do qualify for a regular unemployment claim. This is something that happens every quarter whenever we have additional programs and extension programs. In the Great Recession 10 years ago, this happened every quarter, and we had to test individuals who may possibly qualify for a new claim. So this week, individuals should not see much of a difference, only because it is the first week of the quarter. But after this coming Sunday, when individuals are trying to file for benefits for the current week, that's when they may notice a difference. Their benefits may be held temporarily while we are doing that review, just to see, if they can qualify for a new claim. And then if they don't, we release their benefits. If they do qualify for a new claim, staff will reach out to them and let them know they have to file that claim. So this is an ongoing process that will happen every 3 months, and it will be in full swing, next week, especially once people start filing for their biweekly benefits. And that's all I have to mention today, so we can get to the questions.
Thank you very much, Susan. And as a reminder to anyone who would like to submit a question, please do so using the blue chat icon at the bottom of your screen. You can type your question, and please include your name as well as your media outlet. Our first question for today comes from Laura Benshaw at WHYY. How many people are currently receiving extended benefits?
At last count, I know that there were around 45,000 claims when we first set up PEUC. It has increased since then, and now people are rolling off of it, so it is a rolling number as we have more people go on to extended benefits now. And of course, when people roll on to extended benefits, they're not necessarily going to be eligible. There's a monetary calculation that has to be done, and some people won't be eligible. So I don't know the exact current number. It's in the tens of thousands. Like I said, 45,000 to begin. We probably had maybe another 10, 20,000 roll on top of that since then.
Next, we have Ashley Bishop from WPXI. With the rise in cases, some counties have closed bars and restaurants again. What do people need to do if they once applied for benefits but stopped because they went back to work, but now find themselves without work again? Do they have to open a new claim, and how do they do that?
Unemployment claims are good for 1 year. So whenever they opened their original claim, it's 1 calendar year until their claim expires and they could possibly open a new claim. So if the individual just opened, as most people did, just opened a claim in March, then their claim is still good, and they likely, if they had stopped filing, they likely still have some remaining benefits on that claim. So they would need to reopen the claim. The reopen process is really the same as filing a new claim, pretty much. It asks all the same questions. It tries to account for recent work history just to make sure that they have a qualifying reason that they're separated from employment. So they would reopen their claim, which they can do online, and then, once the staff process the reopen, they'll be ready to go. Also, the PEUC program is still in effect until the end of the year. So if they do, in the meantime, run out of money, because there is not a year's worth of money on the claim, it's just that the claim is effective for a year, but there's only about a half a year's worth of money on a claim at the most. So if the benefits on their claim run out in the meantime, that's when PEUC gets set up for 13 weeks, and they will have that available until they run out of that benefit, and then possibly extended benefits for them afterward. Extended benefits, we don't know when that will end. It will end, when the unemployment rate drops low enough. So, there's no predicting at this time when that's going to end, but that may be possible for them to receive after they are done with PEUC as well.
Next, Isaac Peck from Ear News Now states, we've been hearing from PUA claimants who were prompted to file a new claim when completing their weekly certification. When they did this, they're being told they are monetarily ineligible and their information is gone. If a claim is showing that someone is monetarily ineligible or suspended, what should the person do?
That is an issue that's related to the quarter change I was just talking about, but it's actually a technical issue happening right now that our PUA vendor is working on fixing. The message that people are getting is actually the message that other states who use the products of this vendor have turned on for their state. They use their full unemployment system, which we don't use their full unemployment system. We only use PUA. So it's a message that's being shown in error. So that's being turned off. It started last week and they turned it off, but it's coming on again. So They're turning that off, and the official quarter change work won't start until next week. So next week, people will start receiving a message if it looks like they have enough wages on file to qualify for a regular unemployment claim. Next week is when they will receive the message saying that they should go file for a regular unemployment claim. But right now, I know they're having some difficulties, and people are not able to see some of the things on their dashboard. So they're working through those problems, and they should have them resolved soon.
Secretary Alexiak, the next question is for you. Joe Chevalier from the Bucks County Courier-Times states, I missed the beginning of the update where Secretary was talking about a change in calculating UC filings. Can you please repeat it? Secretary, we can't hear you. Please unmute your mic.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Beginning this Thursday, Elle and I will be updating the process that we use to share COVID-19 stats. From the beginning of the pandemic, we have been updating our website daily with a running total of UC benefit applications since the mitigation efforts started. And as we've said all along, those stats reflect real-time numbers of applications, and they don't reflect the official number of claims released by the Department of Labor every Thursday. But there were so many claims in the beginning, and people were asking how many, so we made the decision to report how many applications we were receiving. There's a difference between applications and claims. Some applications do not become claims because there are multiple applications in some cases, and there are other reasons, but that's the primary reason. So as this process has evolved, as we have worked through how we handle these claims and applications, we want to make sure that the numbers that we give are consistent with the U.S. Department of Labor's numbers. The numbers we have been giving do reflect, they're accurate, and they reflect the number of claims applications that we are actually working, but they aren't consistent with the number of claims that the federal government has been reporting. So we're changing how we do that. We're changing the process because there has been a significant decrease in the number of COVID-related benefits or applications for benefits. And the way we're doing this now will ensure that the numbers we're providing are consistent with the federal government's Department of Labor numbers. They'll be updated every Thursday at noon, and you can get those on our UC Claims Statistics page of our website, uc.pa.gov. So there will be a difference in the numbers that are reported. The most recent number we've reported is 2.2 million claims applications that we have received. We'll be reporting that differently. There'll be a decrease of about 325,000 due to the deletion of duplicate or invalid applications. So it's still very close to 2 million, but it will reflect that difference, and that will be effective as of this Thursday.
Next, the Morning Call's Peter Hall asks, we continue to hear from people who have discovered that they are victims of PUA fraud and that fraudulent payments are still being made. What progress has the department made in shutting down fraudulent claims, and what can people who are victims do to reclaim their identities and benefit eligibility with L&I?
So I was quickly looking to see if I could pull up the address. We do have the address on our site for individuals to report if they've received payments that they should not. And that regardless if they received a benefit check or if they're receiving a debit card. And sometimes some people are reaching out to us, they've simply received a financial determination from us with no payment attached, just information from us saying you filed a claim. And we do provide this information with the financial determinations in case that happens. So the address for checks and payments to be returned to is Department of Treasury Comptroller's Office, attention Mark Accorsi, that's ACCORSI, room 113, Finance Building, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, 17120. So when it comes to incoming claims, there isn't necessarily a way for us to know exactly which ones are fraudulent because this is identity theft. And this is something that's being worked on nationwide by law enforcement. So, what we do is we just cooperate with law enforcement and any information they need so that they can track this down and hopefully, be able to take action on it.
Next, Pittsburgh Tribune Review's Joe Napsha asked, do you have an estimate of the number of people receiving the $600 pandemic unemployment assistance?
We are actually in the process of trying to calculate that estimate because we want to see how many individuals may be affected at the end of it. We can, if you look at the amount of people who have filed claims over the whole pandemic, that would pretty much be your number because everybody receives this pretty much everybody receives this benefit. So that would be your grand estimate. However, we want to know how many people are filing right now who are going to be filing probably in July and who may, at the very end of it, stop receiving the payments. So we don't have the number yet, but we are working on it.
Our next question will mark the beginning of our second round of questions. So if you have any additional questions or follow-ups for Susan or Secretary Oleksiak, please submit them now. Next, we have Nicole Brambila from Public Source. Could the Secretary repeat the number of claimants and the total payout?
Sure. And this is since March 15th when the mitigation efforts began. We've paid out a total of about $23.7 billion in benefits, $10.2 million in regular unemployment compensation, $10.6 billion in the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program. That's the extra $600 per week, and $2.7 billion in the pandemic unemployment assistance program, and $143 million in the pandemic emergency unemployment compensation program, the extended benefits. We have 2.2 million claims for traditional UC and about 979,000 claims for the pandemic unemployment assistance. And that 2.2 million claims is the one that will be adjusted to be consistent with the federal government's numbers as of this Thursday.
Isaac Pettick from Erie News Now asked, PUA claimants are telling us that there seems to be new issues popping up on their claims that are showing up in the same way that the Code 261 IP issue did. If this is the case, should they follow similar steps to correct the issue as they would for Code 261?
There are
I'm sorry, Susan, one more question. Do these issues also have to do with the quarter change?
So the 261 issue is the potential fraud issue. There's another one called, and off the top of my head, I might have this code wrong, it's 421 possibly, which just means they did not pass the Social Security Administration identity match. So for those two, there is a similar process, and individuals' dashboards do explain that. And it says what to do. It says where they need to upload 2 forms of identification. They need to email us at a very particular address so that we can address their claim and look at their identification and release their payments and resolve the issue on their claim so that it doesn't hold up anything. So if it is one of those 2 particular issues, then they do use that process. If it's another type of issue, that just means it's an eligibility issue that we need to address. So there's nothing that they have to do unless we reach out to them and ask for more information. Maybe we send them a questionnaire, or most of the time we do prefer to just call someone and talk to them as opposed to sending a questionnaire. But we may do that if someone doesn't answer the phone, we can't get a hold of them. So if the issues that pop up, some of them may be related to the quarter change only because, as I mentioned earlier, it seems something wrong is happening that the vendor is addressing this morning to make sure that it stops. So it's possible if something was related to that the vendor would then be removing it for everyone. It wouldn't be something that the person has to act on.
Next, Peter Hall from the Morning Call states that he spoke this morning with a woman who attempted to apply for PUA benefits in April and was informed by the system that she was already enrolled. Unable to get help by telephone, she recently was able to recover her account by guessing the security question and responses. She discovered on June 24th that an $8,000 lump sum payment has been made to a bank account that is not hers. Someone is receiving her benefits. What should she do to recover the funds?
So if she is a victim of the identity theft, which it sounds like she might be, she would want to get in touch via the address I provided. And also, if this is an identity theft issue, in which case, we'll take a look at the claim first and see if that's the issue. Then we'll advise her to file a police report for her stolen identity, and they can take it from there on that end. But we would want to know so that we can then straighten out the claim. And if she is due benefits, we have to take the appropriate steps to make that happen.
Next, WPXI's Ashley Bishop asks, some counties are seeing a spike in cases and closings and things. You said the numbers have decreased. Have you noticed any spikes in reopening of cases? What are the top industries you are seeing out of work?
Right. When I was said earlier about the numbers decreasing, I was referring to the numbers from the first 3 weeks to a month that after the mitigation efforts began. We had seen continual decreases in those numbers. In the past few weeks, there has been an uptick. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I think those are numbers that we can get you specifically after this call. And, you'll see that they have gone up some, but nowhere near what they were. The primary industry that we're seeing impacted is the hospitality, leisure industry, hotels, restaurants, bars. They seem to be the biggest. Manufacturing has still had some, obviously some hits as well. But again, those are, we can get you the very specific numbers from our website, and we can get those numbers to you as well.
And again, if any of the reporters or participants in today's call have any additional questions after the call, please email us at dlipress@pa.gov. At this time, it looks like one more is coming in, so we will stall for a moment and see if we can get our final question for the day. Okay, I think that's something we can email the reporters. So, Secretary and Susan, do you have any final thoughts to share with everyone on the call today? Secretary Alexiak, we'll let you go first.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you as always, Susan, for being a part of this, and thank you to the media for being here. We really have been making great strides recently in cutting into the backlog and getting more phones answered and emails answered, and we will continue to do that. I say every week that we're very proud of the work we're doing, but we aren't satisfied. We know that there are people out there who are counting on the benefits that they have earned, and we want to make sure that they get those benefits. So thank you for being a part of this and sharing the information that we do provide.
Susan, any final thoughts today?
I want to echo what the Secretary said and thank you for being here and helping us spread the word about various news items regarding unemployment. And my message for the next 3 weeks will be, remember that FPUC is ending, because I'm sure that there are individuals, even though we have a stuffer in someone's claim confirmation letter when they first open the claim, and it provides these dates, and it makes sure that they're aware of the different CARES Act programs and their start and end dates. That's something that always takes someone by surprise. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that FPUC will be ending July 25th, and that way people are aware that that will be happening. Thank you.
And if I could add, Teresa, Susan reminded me, last week, Secretary Teresa Miller from DHS, the Department of Human Services, and I did a joint media event where we talked about this specifically, and Secretary Miller outlined a whole range of programs that will be available, many that are available now, some that will be available after the $600 benefit ends. And I would encourage people to go to the Department of Health website or also the insurance department, the Pennsylvania Insurance Department, that has information related to benefits available for people who will need them after the $600 benefit has been used up. Thank you.
Thank you for that additional information, Secretary Alexiak. And that's all the time we have for today. Please email our communications office at dlipress@pa.gov with any additional questions. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay well.